Welcome, everyone. This is Bicycling um, Lunch and Learn. It's our August one. We are going to be having a presentation. Roy's going to do a presentation about the benefits of indoor virtual cycling. But there's a couple of things I wanted to mention. We've got a bunch of events in the next week, day to uh, probably the next 2 weeks that I wanted to mention. So first of all, Bicycling Lunch and Learn is a collaborative effort of the members of the Cycle Commuter Task Force, which are um, now, it used to be Bike Indianapolis and Central Indiana Bicycling Association, but they have both now merged into Central Indiana Cycling and Bicycle Garage Indy and Commuter Connect. Um, so we put these on every month from February to October. And we have an archive of 5 years now worth of lunch and learns on the registration page as well. So you can look back at previous programs and previous topics. And as always, you can always email us or put it in the chat what other topics you would like to see as we plan for next year. So events, there is a bike-in movie at Bicycle Garage Indy's 106th Street location. It's our new location that we added, and they're gonna ride from that location to Zionsville for ice cream, and then they're gonna come back and watch Wizard of Oz. So, which has a bicycle in it, if you remember the movie. So anyway, that's happening on Friday, August 15th. Then on Wednesday, August 20th, Central Indiana Cycling is hosting a celebration ride on Michigan and New York new bike lanes. It's the two-way conversion, and they created protected bike lanes. So it's going to be a celebration ride for that, starting at Pizza Dough, having pizza afterwards, and an added thing that we didn't even realize, or they didn't realize when they started planning this, is that very same night at 7:45 is the showing of Breaking Away at the Can Theater. So you can come ride your bike, have pizza, and then go to the movie. Great evening for Wednesday, the 20th. Thursday, the 21st in the morning from 8 to 9 is our active transportation meetup. It will be at Fire and Ice, which is the northeast corner of 62nd and Allisonville. Our original plan was to actually ride on the nickel plate, thinking it would be done and open by now, but it is not officially opened. So we're going to end up, after we meet and gather, we'll go on the 62nd Street Trail. Probably go west to see the library, how you can get to the library by bike in Glendale and then come back. Indiana Representative Carey Hamilton is planning on coming, and Councilor Nick Roberts also is going to try to attend, so we may have some political folks there. And it's always good to show support for trails. Both of them are very supportive of trails. Carey Hamilton is is the legislative trails, Indiana Legislative Trails Caucus. She helped spearhead the next level trail funding in the state budgets. Unfortunately, that got zeroed out in this year's budget, but in previous years, there was $30 million that went to trails statewide in the budget from the work of the Indiana Legislative Trails Caucus, getting that in the budget. And then there's going to be a Southside Ride. There's a new group called the Southside United for Trails, or United for Indianapolis Trails, so it's SUIT. And they're going to have a community ride on the 27th at 5:30, starting at Pronto Taco. It's in Beech Grove. Going to do about a 9-mile ride, starting in, I'm assuming, ending at the taco place. And then our next Lunch and Learn, Tess Wood from Central Indiana Cycling will be talking about how to interact best as bicyclists and drivers. And then I would be amiss if I did not mention Bicycle Garage Indy's big sale that we're doing. It's going to be on the 22nd through 24th at all of our locations. And there will be lots of bikes on sale. So if you're looking for a new bike or some clearance items, it's a really good, it's one of our biggest sales that we have. So that's going on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Do you
So
sell trainers, Connie?
yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. And all of our fitness equipment will be on sale. So yeah, we have, it's primarily a bike sale, but we also have fitness equipment. We sell all types of fitness equipment, and trainers are one of those things. So yes. And I think with that, there's a lot of announcements there, a lot of stuff going on. I'm sure if you look at Central Indiana Cycling Calendar and Bicycle Garage Indy Calendar, you will see many of those events. I'll put those links in the chat. Just joining, what business is the sale? It's at Bicycle Garage Indy. So all of our locations, though the big tent is at our 82nd Street location. Let's see, any other things? Okay. So I will go ahead and turn this over now to Roy. And I'll put the stuff in the chat for all of those things. So Roy, go ahead. And Roy Sparks is one of the members of our Cycle Commuter Task Force, an avid commuter, and he's been doing a lot of our presentations as of late. So, and he gets to do one in October as well. So I thank you, thank you very much, Roy, for all of your hard work and effort.
Yeah,
So.
you're welcome. You're welcome. So for the folks on the line that haven't attended one of my presentations or met me, I have, I started cycling on the, post right around the Lance Armstrong craze at the Tour de France. So I've been riding since, seriously, since 2006. Vast majority of my miles, I've I keep track of everything in an Excel spreadsheet. So I believe I've eclipsed 60,000 miles at this point since that time, and most of that has been outside. But I had a hip issue and had to get hip replacement surgery back in spring of 2021. And in preparation for that surgery, that's when I decided to take a really hard look at indoor cycling and smart trainers. So I got a smart trainer in, I think, December of 2020, and got introduced to virtual cycling through the Zwift platform. And so I'm going to be sharing some of my experiences with that. Generally, I do still ride a majority of my miles outside. I ride about 3,500 miles a year consistently. But in the months of December, January, February, maybe into March, I'll probably ride on average 200 miles a month on the indoor trainer. So I'm going to share some of my experiences with that and some of the value that I've gotten out of that, and the little tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. So this is a picture of my son. That's one of the things I wanted to highlight. you can get your kids on an indoor trainer. This, as you can tell, he is riding one of his bikes, and I was able to adapt it to a like a old Cyclops fluid trainer that I had, and with this setup, it's the only thing it cost me is I had to buy a speed sensor for the rear wheel for it to work with Zwift, a Bluetooth speed sensor. And so this is a picture of him and I created an event um, where it was just he and I riding in Zwift together. And so we do that occasionally during the winter when the kids can't get outside to do stuff, and it's Christmas break and they're looking for something to do. Hey, we go down and we do a Zwift ride in the basement. So you can adapt this to get your kids to ride as well. So we're going to talk about what is indoor virtual cycling and my experiences with Zwift. There are other platforms out there. I think there's one called Ruby, for example, and whatnot. So there are other platforms besides Zwift, but all my experiences with Zwift. So I'm going to be speaking mostly to that today. We'll touch base on some of the health benefits, additional health benefits you get from indoor cycling. We'll talk about how to use it for motivation and especially with peers and social groups. Much like riding with groups outside, you get that same benefit. And I think it's even more slightly enhanced, and we'll touch base on why that is when you ride with a group virtually indoor. And we'll talk, of course, one of the huge values is the convenience of doing indoor cycling and how it integrates also with technology and other fitness devices and um, fitness platforms and websites where you store and track your fitness data. So what is Zwift? For those of you that aren't familiar, it's basically an indoor cycling platform, right, that allows you to connect a trainer and select various routes to ride indoors. Um, it's a digital world, so you are creating an avatar that represents you in this world. So when you're cycling, your avatar responds to your cycling effort when you're on the trainer. And so as you ride in groups, every member in that group has an avatar on the screen that's riding along with you. Um, it's also social. So if you want to ride solo, among other virtual riders, you're not into, hey, I don't want to chat it up. I don't want to talk to other people. I just want to get on there and ride. You can do that. You can also join Zwift has various group events, and they publish those, and so you can get in and the Zwift platform and look at those and attend other group rides. There are a number of groups that host events. You can also join a Robo Pacer. They have Robo Pacer rides where it's all based. If you're not familiar with power data and do Zwift, you will get familiar with that. The Robo Pacers are based on effort of watts per kg. And so you can select various Robo Pacers, and basically you just join a Robo Pacer, and it's a virtual avatar, and you ride along a selected route with that Robo Pacer at a set pace. And so those are good opportunities also to ride with other people because you'll be riding with a group when you do that. And you can also create your own club in Zwift, which we've done. So the Fall Creek Flyers is my bike commuter group here in Indianapolis. We've created our own Zwift club. And so during the winter, when we can't commute to work, we will schedule events that occur early in the morning, like at 6 o'clock. 6 to 6:45 is our typical event window. And so we can all ride together and chat it up and talk um, in a virtual environment um, until we can get out and ride outside, when the snow melts or whatever. So benefits of indoor cycling. Um, the main benefits is that it's a controlled environment, right? It's in a set place in your house. Um, it's impervious to weather interruptions. It's safer because you're not engaging with traffic, road hazards, weather, etc. And it allows you to really set your goal for what the ride you're going to do in a virtual environment. You know, is it a casual ride? Or are you going to set some kind of performance metric that you want to achieve, be it power, be it distance, be it time, be it elevation gain? If you want to use this to train for an event in the future, it gives you an opportunity to really focus in on a goal if that's what you want to do for that particular ride session. So what do you need? So for most folks, you can use your existing road bike and even your mountain bike. Um, so with a smart trainer. So a smart trainer is probably the preferred, and that's this picture in the upper right hand corner here is an example of smart trainer. And essentially right below that, you can see kind of the setup here that you end up removing your rear wheel. And you connect your bike to the smart trainer. The smart trainer then allows the ability for to for you to simulate elevation. So the smart trainer, based on the route you select in Zwift, these routes have elevation gains and descents and whatnot. And so the trainer adjusts the resistance as you're riding the route. So it'll simulate a hill climb, for example. And the same thing with the descent. The resistance changes and simulates you descending the hill or the mountain. So it's very engaging um, versus the old school way before you used to have these smart trainers where you're just kind of spinning along and watching TV or whatever. You're actually riding a route and you're climbing hills and descending hills and going around curves and through all kinds of interesting visual virtual environments. You can use a dumb trainer, like I mentioned, and that's the picture in the lower left here as an example. This is the trainer that I connected my son's bike to. I did have to buy an adapter kit because that particular bike, I believe, was a 20-inch wheel, and so they sell adapter kits for this flywheel connection here, and so I had to buy an adapter kit. But nonetheless, I was able to get that installed and put that on his bike and mount his bike to it. So he was able to do that. Of course, this does not simulate resistance on climbing hills and whatnot, but nonetheless, Zwift allows you to select the trainer. So when you sign up with Zwift, it's going to ask you what your trainer is, what your trainer type is. And so even if you do have a dumb trainer, it does try to, based on that, selecting that trainer type, it will integrate that into Zwift. So for example, you don't have, it's not going to make you simulate it can't change the resistance on your trainer when you're climbing the hill, but it does a watt calculation and you have to burn an estimated watts to get to the top of the hill. And so that's how it paces you up the hill on a dumb trainer. It's a pure calculation that happens in the software. So you'll need some kind of trainer. You also need the Zwift app. So the Zwift app platform will run on a device, typically an Apple TV. That's how I have it set up. These smart trainers have communication protocol built into them. They have both Bluetooth and ANT+. And so typically it's commuting to a Bluetooth, like on an iPhone or an iPad or an Apple TV, and you are running the app off of that device. And then the trainer communicates to the Zwift app through your device. Fun tip on your Apple TV, as opposed to an iPad or an iPhone, your Apple TV only has 2 open Bluetooth channels. And so one is used for the remote. And so you only have 1 open Bluetooth channel. So it's worth noting that you can run your whole trainer on that Bluetooth channel if you want to use an Apple TV. I use the Apple TV because I like the big screen. So I got a big screen TV in the basement with an Apple TV, and that's how I connect with Zwift. You can also connect additional sensors to your smart trainer, be they ANT+ or Bluetooth. So if you have a heart rate sensor or some kind of additional cadence sensor that you want to connect, you can connect those directly to your smart trainer. And then all that data is pushed out on the Bluetooth channel to my Apple TV. Do note that, again, I think I mentioned this, if you do have a wheel on dumb trainer, it does require you have a Bluetooth speed sensor. And that's what will communicate your data to Zwift. If you do not have a smart trainer, it will use that Bluetooth speed sensor. So of course, there is a technology learning curve here. It's not super difficult to get things set up, but it's important that you spend the time to get that set up, and you can't really wait. Don't wait till the last minute if you're going to join a group. You need to really get on and get these things ironed out before you want to join any group rides. So benefits, right? So here's the best thing. Indoor cycling allows you the opportunity, if you're an outdoor cyclist, to ride more miles. And when you ride more miles, hopefully your fitness increases, right? So over that winter period where normally you might quit riding outside, now you've got opportunities to be on target and work on your fitness and improve your heart function, improve your lung capacity, burn calories, right? Help you increase endurance, help you prepare for the upcoming outdoor cycling season. When you're going to start riding outside, you have some level of fitness. I will tell you, as far as fitness challenge goes, I'm happy with the smart trainer. It is for me, it's a tougher workout than riding outside. And so you really get a good work on these smart trainers. You really get a good workout. It is nothing like the old school dumb trainers from back in the early 2000s. You really get a good workout riding those. And so it's beneficial if you really are looking to increase your fitness level for whatever reason over the summer. Riding in this virtual environment on a smart trainer really affords you that opportunity to gain fitness. So the virtual environments, if you're not familiar with Zwift, they have created multiple virtual worlds. They have a made-up world called Watopia. It was their very first world. It's kind of, I would say it's kind of like a South Pacific island, kind of with a little twist of Northwest rainforest built in. So it's fun in that it's a completely made up world, and they have routes in there, and you ride into, they have routes that go in these tubes under oceans and underwater through sequoia trees. They do some really fun integrations for holidays, like you'll be riding around and all of a sudden you'll see Santa Claus flying in a sleigh up in the sky, and they'll have they got Bigfoot. They even have a particular route where they have dinosaurs along the side, various dinosaurs along the side of the road. So it's really engaging, and it keeps your attention. And they've created other worlds too, like so things don't get stale. You can ride in. They have UCI World Championship courses like in Richmond, Virginia. So they have some, and in Scotland, they have a world they created in Scotland. The World Championships were all held in Scotland here a couple of years ago. They've got worlds they've created in France. So if you're, if one of your goals in life is to ride Alpe d'Huez or Mount Ventoux, guess what? You can ride them on Zwift to prepare your body for those situations, right? So they have several worlds they've created that are very visually engaging and have multiple types of routes and cool stuff to look at while you're riding. So it's not, it's not boring. Again, you create a custom avatar. So you do have some options. You can pick, you can pick your apparel that your avatar wears. You get to pick what kind of bikes. They have a whole list of bikes made by bike manufacturers. So even though you can't afford that $5,000 bike in Zwift, guess what? You can. So you can ride, a cool bike. Same thing with wheels. They have various wheels you can choose from. And they let you earn gear too. So the more you ride, the more miles you get in, the more, and they have different levels that you earn. I think I'm in level 30 something now. Um, it unlocks more bikes, more wheels that you can, you know, keep your avatar fresh and looking cool. They even let you change your hairstyle, your beard, there's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do with your avatar. A lot of options. Um, so again, I find it beneficial. One of the other benefits here is that if you're riding these routes and you are, you really want to target in on a workout, right? You just don't want to ride the route and deal with the elevation, ascents and descents. If you have a particular style of workouts you want to achieve, whether it's functional power threshold or whether it's watts per kg or whatever, they give you an opportunity to go in and select a specific workout while you're riding the route in Zwift, right? So it really allows you to function in and focus on any kind of particular goal or metric that you're trying to improve for a future event or whatever. If you're a racer, I don't know if we got any racers online, you can race in Zwift. That's a thing. Um, Group riding, again, when we ride outside in a group, I really have always loved that. I belong to various clubs up in Lafayette and here in Indianapolis, and even out in when I lived in Greencastle. Um, and I always enjoyed the social aspect, but in group riding, you get that same level of social bonding and experience. Typically, um, this third paragraph down here, um, when you're riding in a group, um, there is a third party app called Discord, which is used, and that is basically it's basically a internet kind of phone app that allows the group on that event to talk to each other. So you can put on a Bluetooth headset and use that Discord app to talk to the people you're riding with. So when the Fall Creek Flyers, when we have our group rides, we all sign into Zwift, we all launch the Discord app on our phone, and we can have conversations. And so, it allows you to have conversations with people while you're riding that normally when you're outside, sometimes it's difficult to have those conversations based on the group dynamics, the weather, what trail you're on, whether you can ride side by side, where they have to ride single file or whatever. When you're in a virtual environment, it makes those conversations super easy to have. So there's a lot of social chatting that we have on our group rides on Zwift. I've touched on this a little bit already, but indoor cycling allows you that opportunity that sometimes is living in a huge urban environment and city here in Indianapolis. Sometimes if you're training for an event or training for something that's specific, it can be hard to get out and get a route, design a route going out in the country and riding to achieve either a distance or a power or whatever your metric is you're trying to achieve to train for an event. Here in an urban environment, sometimes it's hard to do that, right? So when you ride inside virtually, you can really focus in on what you want to achieve on that ride, and it allows you to track all those metrics. So these smart trainers, most of us don't really, at least from my experience, we don't really have power meters on our outdoor bikes, right? We don't really look at power data. We don't have power data available to us. But when you have that smart trainer, all that power metrics are integrated into the smart trainer. So you can see what watts you're putting out. You can see your watts per kg. They have a little heads up display on the screen you're using where you can customize what data you want to see. So if you want to see what my watts per kg constantly is, you can display that. So it gives you an opportunity to really dial into what you want to achieve and what's motivating you to ride that day. So the flexibility of it is really nice. It allows you to schedule your cycling during those inconvenient times where you can't get outside. You can it's available to your schedule, whether it's morning, whether it's late at night, whether it's lunchtime. If you're working remote today, and hey, on my lunch, I'm going to go down and hit it for 45 minutes on the trainer. You have the ability to do that without having the additional hassle of, like, going outside and getting your bike and riding around outside and coming home. And then, there's a time savings that with riding inside that you don't have to um, you don't have to spend as much time as you would riding outside, getting your gear ready and whatnot. You don't have to worry about, oh, hey, if you get a flat, right? Oh, my, it's 20 minutes. I've wasted outside because I got a flat tire. I got to change that flat. You don't have to worry about that inside, right? So it's nice. And again, it's very customized on what your goal is for today's ride. Whatever you want to achieve, you can focus on that. And you don't have to put up with bad weather either, obviously. Um, as far as technology integration goes, um, most smart trainers are compatible with Swift. Again, they typically are going to have both ANT and Bluetooth communication comms to link to Zwift or other devices that you maybe want to use, like a heart rate monitor. Um, most of these smart trainers, the price has really come down over the last few years. Um, and I think Zwift has really pushed that with the industry. Um, so whether you're using a Wahoo trainer or you're using a tax trainer, which I believe is owned by Trek, um, there's 4 or 5 trainers out there. I think they're usually somewhere south of $300. Um, you can get a really nice smart trainer for under $300 that's going to be Zwift compatible out of the box. It also integrates into other fitness apps. So if you are a Garmin Connect person or a Strava person, you can set up Zwift to connect to those applications. And so it will automatically upload your rides to Garmin Connect or Strava. So you can keep all your rides in one your app of choice. I personally use both of those. So I store all my rides in Garmin Connect and all my rides in Strava. So I'm a belt and suspenders kind of person, I guess. You can also that's the other thing too. So if you have a Garmin device, I don't know if Connie you touched on this or not, but your Garmin device, so if you have a Garmin Edge, you can connect your smart trainer as a device to your Garmin Edge. So when I ride inside, I also launch and I have a indoor cycling profile set up on my Garmin Edge, and I have my smart trainer connected as a device to my Garmin Edge. So I also, when I'm riding inside while Zwift is recording this ride, I also record it directly on my Garmin Edge, right? And you're probably asking yourself, hey, Roy, if Zwift uploads it to Garmin Connect, why would you do that? Well, if you're a Garmin Connect person, um, they have badges that you can earn to achieve levels in Garmin. So typically they have like 6 or 7 cycling badges a month that you can earn based on distance and time and number of activities and whatnot. And if you are into that kind of thing and want to earn all these badges, which clearly I am, um, the ride has to be recorded on a Garmin device. So if you upload a ride from Zwift into Garmin Connect, it does not count it towards that badge. That's a Garmin thing. I know it's annoying. It annoys me, but so that's the reason I also simultaneously record my indoor rides on my Garmin Edge device, is so I can um, earn the monthly badges that I want to earn. It really motivates me, by the way. I mean, you get close to the end of the month and you're like, oh man, if I ride 3 more times, I'll earn this badge. So I make sure I get out and ride 3 more times to earn it. It really can motivate you to keep up consistent cycling effort through the year. Right. So in summary, it's a comprehensive virtual interactive experience. It allows you an opportunity to sustain and increase your fitness throughout the year. especially, you know, after the time changes and it starts getting dark and cold outside, or it starts snowing, and you don't, you know, you can't ride outside until the snow melts or whatever. It gives you that opportunity to sustain a cycling effort, through times when it's tough for you for whatever reason to get outside. And again, you know, it can be a social experience, and peer pressure is a thing, right? You know, that's one thing I love about the Fall Creek Flyers. You know, when we say, "Hey, we're riding tomorrow," and my alarm goes off at 5:30 in the morning, very rarely do I hit the snooze and roll over and say, "Screw it." You know, I know there's going to be 3 or 4 people that are going to be out there, and they're going to be waiting on me. Where's Roy? Roy's late today, you know, and it really motivates me, to keeps me getting up and getting out of bed and hitting it when it's, um, tough to do so. So indoor cycling. Anybody got any questions?
Doesn't look like we have any questions at all. This was
Oh, I think I lost you, Connie. Can you still hear me?
sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
Can you hear me
okay.
now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that it kind of motivates me. I've thought about off and on getting some kind of trainer because during the winter I don't get on my bike and I really don't like being out in cold. Last winter I had some issues walking, so it would have been good for me to actually have a trainer. So I actually did something activity. So I might look into it this year. We'll see.
Yeah, they've really gotten more affordable compared to where it was. You know, back when I bought my trainer in 2021, I think I spent about $1,000, I think, on mine, but they've really
Yeah,
focused
they've
on the price point.
really come down and we'll have, good prices definitely, in a week from this weekend during our sale. So, yeah, thank you so much, Roy, and we'll go ahead and end this. Have a great rest of your week and we'll hopefully see you at some of the upcoming events.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.